Hello, guys. We are back with another video. Let me pop the mic a little closer. Oh, yeah, baby. Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. So, let's talk about a weird strategy in Rocket League LAN history, or RLCS LAN history, about double elim formats. And it seems weird. So, this is obviously on paper. We've had 9 of these tournaments. And lo and behold, it's better to be in the lower bracket entering the final day. You have a higher percentage chance to win than you do if you're in the upper finals. You actually have a higher chance to win, or you have the same chance to win if the upper finals are already done and we know what team in the grand finals. That team has the same percentage chance to win as the third and fourth place match. Both of those teams. Like all 3 of those teams have a 1/3 chance to win in our first 9 events at least. Obviously, this is on paper and you wouldn't actually try and do this, but it's a fun percentage anyway. And so let's go over it. Let's talk about exactly what that means. And I believe my scene will be correct. It is. All right. So we're going to go back. Double elimination has been around in RLCS for a very, very long time. All the way back to season 1. And you'll see some commonalities. I don't know if that's a word, but you'll see some as we go through this. So let's look at the bracket here. Double elim format. Flipside Tactics actually lost in the very first round of this tournament. They made it all the way back to the grand finals and then lost. And they didn't get a bracket reset versus iBuyPower. Even in this first tournament, I believe there still was a bracket reset. I'm almost certain of that. Actually, yeah, I'm certain of that. So iBuyPower came out and got the win there. No bracket reset needed. But this is a rare occurrence in the 9 times we've had this. We had this all the way through season 6. And then we had winter and spring of last year, and then we had spring of this year to do all our brackets. So that's the first one. We'll throw that one out there right now. Number 2, and this is the trend you're going to be seeing. Now, keep in mind the upper final loser there did not win a match. That's going to happen a lot. So as we look here, we go into another one. We had Mocket versus Northern Gaming in the upper final. Northern Gaming lost. Poor Northern Gaming. This is back-to-back, by the way. They did this in the last tournament as well. And they get a 3rd place finish. Flipside Tactics, yet again, making that lower bracket run. But this time, they got the bracket reset. So hats off to them. They get the win with a bracket reset. Season 3. Keep on moving. This time, Northern Gaming's like, we got you beat. We're going to go through the lower bracket because we know that's the better way to do it at these lands and make a run. Now, one thing to keep note of, the schedule, I believe for the first 2, maybe even the 3rd one, I'm not sure when we swapped this, was you do the lower match here first with Northern Gaming and Leftovers, the 3rd and 4th place game first. Then you go to the upper bracket final. Then that team had to play back-to-back after a loss into the lower bracket final. I believe that this was used for the first 3 years. I'm not positive. I should have checked that before I made this video, but hey, this is off the cuff. I just wanted to make this video. So I didn't check it. So if someone wants to fact check me, feel free. Leave it in the comments below. That would be wonderful. But players were very against this. They did not want to play off a loss. They would rather play a team off a win than to play off a loss. So this was changed later on, maybe season 4 and onwards around that time. So in this one, NRG went to the upper final, lost again. Northern Gaming came from the lowest, got the bracket reset, and won versus Mocket. That last series, very, very good in terms of closeness. The series itself, actually, incredibly boring. Like, if you go back and watch that, it was a very low-scoring series, I believe. Yeah, very, very low-scoring. 1-0, 1-0, 3-0, 3-1, 2-0. Back then as well, 1-0 games were a lot more rare. The goals per game were up. And maybe this is a future video because I believe, now this is along with T-Bates, I know they've had conversations with Johnny Boy before, that defense, much, much easier than offense. So when teams are not as good, more goals are going to happen, is how I argue that. As teams get better, there should be less goals per game. And I feel like that is normally the occurrence. And in my opinion, the way I would say is like in a perfect Rocket League match, the game would be 0-0. Because defense is easier than offense, so no one should be able to score, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. You can argue with me. Maybe we'll have a video about that in the future. But yeah, it was actually a very, very boring series if you go back. So sorry to Northern Gaming. But they did get the win. Started the turbo reign. So there you go. Moving on. That's another bracket reset. Keep that in mind. We have a spreadsheet at the end that I didn't make pretty at all. That we'll talk about it. But moving on. Finally, Season 4, Gale Force, Turbo, coming through. Upper bracket win yet again. So now we're 2-2, right? Lower bracket wins, upper bracket wins. Method, though, now this is a very, very rare occurrence. I believe this is the only time this happens unless I messed up my data earlier. But Method lost and then won the third place game. So good on them. Cloud9 did not make that lower bracket run. Yeah, I feel like Cloud9's not built to make a lower bracket run. So I get it. I get it. All right, moving on. Season 5. Let's see what happens again. I think people forget that this was a bracket reset as well of how good of a series, obviously the greatest series in RLCS history. And I would say the two series combined is still one of the greatest matches of all time. Because both matches at their time was so much higher of a peak of Rocket League than I've ever seen. Like, I thought for a whole nother year, like, except for the Cloud9 like dominance right at the very end, I felt like that these two matches were still the highest peak Rocket League we had seen maybe a year later. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it was just like glorifying it like in my head, but it felt that way. So I would still consider this to be like the highest peak Rocket League maybe ever of like, oh my God, these teams are so much better than everyone else. But in this instance, yet again, Energy, they took down Dignitas early. And Dignitas is like, thank you very much. Lower bracket teams win more often. Boom, bada bing, Cloud9 again. Can't make lower bracket rounds. We all know this. Moving on through complexity, going on to take the win. Keep it going. Season 6, the last season that we had this format because then we added more teams in SAM. So we went to just an 8-team bracket normally at the end. We had some weird ones before that, but we won't get into it. But this one, oh, wait a minute. Cloud9 can do lower bracket runs. They lost in the very first round to Weedham Girls. Made the greatest lower bracket run of all time. And then they take down Dignitas. Again, Weedham Girls, Remco. I believe Remco was still on this team, right? Yeah, poor Remco. I think this happened to him 3 times. But very, very difficult to win again from the upper bracket final. Again, we've only seen it once, ever. Cloud9 goes through and wins pretty easy. And that was the one where NA just flopped out hard. The top 4 was 3 EU and 1 OC. That was the worst NA has ever done up until maybe this major. Sorry, North America, but historically this was your worst major of all time. Okay, season 6 is done. Another lower bracket win. Now we're 4-2. Moving on. So season 7 didn't have it. 8, 9, yada yada. 21, 22. Go into winter. So this is the one where we had a double elim. We did not do this in the in 22-23 season, but we did it here. And lo and behold, what are we going to find out? Queso making a fantastic run as well. Lower bracket all the way through. Space Station gets the unfortunate upper bracket final loss. But this is the only time that this has ever happened. Team Queso bracket resets, but G2 bounced back. So literally in the history of our 9 times that we've done this on an RLCS LAN, it's the only time the bracket reset mattered of having 2 lives in the final. Maybe that's an argument where we don't need the bracket reset. Possibly. But I kind of like it anyway because I feel like it's the most fair. I'm not a big fan of like, well, that team only has 1 life now, you know, because like, say it was G2 versus Queso here. It'd be kind of weird if G2 beats Queso here like 4-0, they lose to him 4-3 here, and then they're like, oh, that's it, we're done. Queso wins. And it's like, I don't know. It just feels awkward to me. And I think bracket resets have been relatively hype on LAN, but I know a lot of people will disagree with that, which is fine. Throw it in the comments below. Let's get this YouTube popping again. I'm trying to build it up so we can make more of these videos. But Team Queso did lose. Poor Rise. I hear he's pretty bad at Rocket League. All right, moving on. Going into the spring, his teammates are bad too. All right, here we go. Spring, double elim yet again, and never mind. Moist Esports, they're fantastic, making a beautiful lower bracket run. Look at them go. Another version 1. 1 game away from being in the upper final. And then not. Moist Esports comes through, takes it down. Another bracket reset, and this time a bracket reset win. Again, the upper finalists have lost every time except for once. And then finally, let's move on to 22-23. Go to spring. Winter, again, did not have this format, so you don't have to worry about that. Spring, we were just here. Vitality making the run after losing to BDS. Makes it all the way back. It was a tough one. K-Corp almost had this, and I thought K-Corp, their attitude was fantastic in that upper bracket final. They were like cheerful, and maybe it was because that they got blown out in Game 7, but they weren't too upset about it, and I thought, all right, K-Corp's got a shot here, but Vitality was just a little bit too strong. Vitality then comes out on top over BDS. Yet again, lower bracket win. So let's go into the percentages here because this is pretty interesting. Boom. There we go. This is kind of small. I'll try and zoom it in for you. Oh, it doesn't zoom. All right, hold on. I think I can do it here. Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. There it is. All right. See how it's very just ramshackled together. But basically, third and fourth place winner. Made it to grand finals, lost. Won. Third place, the only time. Won. Made it to the grand finals, but lost in the bracket reset. 1-1. So 6 victories if you're in that third and fourth place match, which means a 66% chance to win the tournament if you win that third and fourth place match, because there's 9 of these tournaments. Upper final loser, look at this, third place. Oof, only once did that not happen, and that was Season 4 Method. So hats off to Method. They pulled that off, but then also that final they lost 4-0, right? So maybe it's better that that hasn't happened again. Upper final winner, first, second, first. Obviously can't go lower than 2. Yep, so 1. Oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing a pattern, though. I'm seeing a pattern. 24 Spring. I'm going to pick the upper final winner to win because it's all patterns. Everything is scripted. We've had 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. I mean, Gibbs learning patterns in school. He would even pick this, all right? So, 24 Spring, book it now. Upper finals win, like if everything is the same format and yada, yada, yada. Upper final wins. Next time we see Double E Lim, whenever it is, they're going to win it, the upper final team. But, interesting stat, if you win the upper finals, you have the same exact percentage chance, 33%, as the third and fourth place teams before their match, which is nutty. That is absolutely insane. On top of that, the upper final before it is played, you got to cut that in half then, right? Because if you lose that, you're almost guaranteed third. So 16.5% chance to win the tournament, according to what's on paper. Like, obviously, this is not true, or it shouldn't be true in practice, but so far it is. 16.5% chance. That is the same percentage as the fifth place match. All 4 of those teams that are playing for fifth, or to not make fifth and move on to the top 4, have the same exact percentage as the 2 upper final teams based on our numbers here. Obviously, small sample size, this could change. But honestly, what it really means in terms of what I think is that just momentum is so incredibly important in Rocket League. We know Rocket League has parity, especially near the top. Sometimes, a few teams in tournaments aren't as good as others, but when you get to the final day, these teams are all very, very talented, generally speaking, unless it's a huge underdog story, but then they're hot as well. But momentum is so incredibly important. Like, people used to argue that fatigue might be an issue, but honestly, like, if you look at the numbers, fatigue does not matter at all. It's all about momentum. Momentum beats out fatigue every single time. Well, not every single time, but 66% of the time. These lower bracket teams make the run and get the win, or at least bracket reset. You can even add 1 extra onto that where they get the bracket reset. It's incredible that if you just make it to that fifth place match, and if you lose, that you get fifth, those 4 teams have the same percentage chance to win as the upper finalists, which is nutty. That shouldn't be the case. That means the round before that doesn't matter at all. You play in the upper semi, you're going to have the same percentage chance to win if you win or lose. Doesn't matter. Crazy numbers. I know the numbers, like you would rather have 2 lives, but clearly, I don't know, maybe not. Except for this next time. Patterns, guys, patterns. Every third tournament, the upper finalist wins. So we started with the first, then the fourth, then the 7th. The 10th time it happens, it'll happen again. Book it now. Put it in your predictions. And it was funny, when me and Bates had our prediction contest, I was hoping for this. I actually was like, I'm going to play the numbers. We're looking good for the lower bracket team to win it all. So I was like, all right, this first match, like if I lose, it was K Corp BDS. I picked K Corp. He picked BDS. I was gonna be 2 down, and then I made him a deal with the devil. I was like, all right, like on the desk, I said, I know you're not gonna pick Vitality here, so I want Vitality the rest of the way, and you pick opposite of me. And he agreed, and we did it up until Vitality turned it into a North American team. And if you go back to that first segment, it hurt him so badly to have to pick BDS. And then finally, in the bracket reset, I allowed him. I was like, go ahead. If you want to pick Vitality, you can pick Vitality. I know they're North American now, so he can pick them. He did. We tied in our prediction contest. I believe we both went 21 out of 31, which is okay. Like, not amazing, but hey, it happens. But we'll continue it at the World's main event. We'll both be there. I won't be there for the wild card, so we will continue the prediction battle when we get to the main event. So that should be a lot of fun. But there you have it. A very weird stat. You play in the uppers semifinals. Doesn't even matter if you win or lose. Still have the same percentage chance to win the tournament right after that. Obviously, you'll place higher if you go further. Like if you lose in the upper final, you're guaranteed third. You're not guaranteed that with the lower bracket. But if you want to just win the tournament, doesn't matter in the match. Have fun. Because according to our stats, our small sample size of 9, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. So there you have it. Very, very weird strategy, or not really strategy, but I'm going to call it a strategy for this video because why not? It's fun. About double elim, the lower bracket momentum. Momentum greater than fatigue. I think that is true no matter how you put it. So there you go. There it is. We'll see you for the next one. Later.